Hi guys, good afternoon, good morning, good evening. I'm so happy to be here again. So welcome to my space. It's Maverick here, and in today's video we'll be learning, as we've always learned, something very interesting. So just as we can see on our screen, all right, so I'll be showing us how I was able to create this birthday flyer for the lady in here. All right, so Destiny, as her name is. So this is for an organization I actually work with. So I'm going to show us how exactly I was able to achieve this. All right, it's not something complex, it's something simple, it's something you can if you give it your thoughts, you can get exactly how this was created. All right, it's very easy and simple. So I already have my elements, my resources here. All right, I've imported them, so I'll just get to hide them, and then as we need them, they'll be unhidden and we would make use of them. So basically, what I'll just say before we get started is this. Okay, what I'll just say is that for the organization I volunteer with, they have a brand color. They have a brand color, and from their logo, which is here, you would see that their brand color is a mix of navy blue and then green, a light green, mix of navy blue and light green. But now for this design, I was able to maintain the brand color navy blue, but then I didn't use the light green as its wear, and that's because of a reason. Now it is important you take note of this fact that whenever you are designing, you should try to blend your design with the image or with the picture you are using. All right, so they have a pivotal role to play in your design. All right, so imagine me having this picture. This is the picture of the lady, and then I want to use green. It would be totally off. It will be totally off. But now you can see the way this design blended. Why? Because I had to select or pick the color I would use from the image. So it happens that sometimes when designing, you might have to pick the colors you would use in your design from your pictures or from your images. All right, it's very important and very necessary. All right, so let's get into business of today. So how was I able to achieve this? Basically, this is a simple design, as we all know, and I would continue to say. So the basic thing I did here was, okay, this is a white, it has the background basically here is a white background. So all I needed to do, or all I did, was I imported a square, transformed this into a rectangle, and then made it slanty. So afterwards, I brought in my background and sent it to the back. So it now made it hard, and the feeling you can see here. So we'll just, instead of too much theory, we are here for practical. I think that's the reason for this video. So let's just dive right into the practical aspect and enough of theory. So the next thing we need to do is import a shape, a square shape. So we transform this shape into a rectangle, and then we are going to make it slanty. All right, so we are going to make this slanty. So go to rotate, rotate this. Okay, let's leave it at 3. All right, so rotate this. Oh no, let me make it 5. So rotate this and let's leave it at 5. Okay, let's leave it at 3. 3 is fair enough. So now we've rotated our transformed square to this. So the next thing we need to do, we're going to add stroke to it. So go to stroke, enable stroke, and then make the stroke with 4. Make the stroke with 4, and then make it white, still white. All right, so it will not be visible because normally the background is white, the color is white, the stroke width is white, everything is white. So even the color itself, you can't see it, but definitely you can see it moving. All right, so when we work on our background, we'll be able to see the difference difference. All right, so the next we are going to do, we are going to bring in or make use of inner shadow for this our shape. All right, so click on inner shadow, enable it. All right, so we can see, I think we can now see the effects coming out clearly now. All right, but this inner shadow, I think it is too dark, so I'm going to work on that. Let's leave our blur radius to be 5. Sorry, enable this. Let's leave our blur radius to be 5, and then let's bring our offset downwards a bit. Let's leave it to be 5 also. So we are going to reduce the opacity for this our black color here. So just click on your plus icon and reduce the transparency. Okay, let's increase the transparency a bit. So let me bring this downwards, make it 6. Let me reduce the radius. Okay, let me still leave it as 5. Then reduce the transparency, increase it rather. Alright, so I think this is fine. So this is fine. So here is what we've got. Let's just place this somewhere here. Place this somewhere here. Alright. So the next thing we need to do, let's now unhide our background, our grunge background. So this is it. This is it. So what I did basically was that I had to crop it. I had to crop it and then enlarge this, increase the size, then bring it to the front and reduce it so it does not disturb or distract us. So I increased the size of this, and then I placed just here. I placed it here, but then I cannot leave it like this. Why? It's simple, because the opacity needs to be reduced. All right, so if I leave it like this, what's the implication? I don't want the texture to be visible. I want it to be blurred into the background, and definitely I cannot blur it the way it is. Why? Because our background is white, so we need to change the background to navy blue. So click on, you come over here, this double lapped square, click on it, click on color. We want to change the color of our background now to navy blue. So how do we identify that? Click on gradient, not gradient, sorry, color. Click on your plus icon. So I'll just do it manually. I will not give us a color code. So from here, this is your color wheel. Just bring down your pointer where you have blue, and then the color transforms. So the second layer, now reduce your color to a dark shade of blue. So I think I'm cool with this. Now you can see that as I move this, just look at this angle. Look at this angle. As I move this, you can see that the color code is changing. So wherever I leave it, the color code you see here is the color code for this exact spot it is, this exact shade of blue it is. So if I increase it or I reduce it, the color code changes. The color code changes. So I'm going to leave it here. I think this is fine for me. So now if I'm to give you a color code, this is the color code I would give you, 000539. So this is how I generate my colors and extract the color code basically. So I did this intentionally. I didn't want to give us a color code. I wanted us to see how I do generate the color codes. All right. So now if we hide the two elements, we would see that this is our background. All right, so I want this to be more darker. Yeah, so this is fine and this is fair. So let's unhide our background. So now I can now peacefully reduce the opacity of this my grunge background. All right, so you can see as I reduce the opacity, it is the background color now comes out more. The background color now comes out more. So I'm going to leave it as it is, 45, but still but still I'm going to adjust the background color. I want it a bit more darker. Okay, so I think this is just fine. Yeah, this is fine. So I would increase the opacity a bit. Okay, I'll leave it at 50. No, 45 will do just fine. So here is where we've gotten to. Here's where we've gotten to. So the next thing we need to do is I would bring in my image now. That is the lady. Over here, I'll send her to the front. I'll send her to the front. Let me scale her picture up. Okay, let me reduce it a bit and place here. Alright, so here I would place the picture here and it's just fine the way it is. So I need to reduce this one a bit. I'll bring this down a bit. Alright, so the next thing we need to do is just to work on our texts. Basically, to work on our text. So let's type birthday. So edit this and type birthday all in block letters, but then I want this to be double layered, so I would separate this exactly. And then the font I used here was Montserrat, so change this to Montserrat. Let's leave it at Montserrat bold. So the next thing I did was I had to align this to my right. Alright, and after aligning to my right, the line spacing in between them was kind of too much, so I had to reduce the line spacing. So I'll just leave it at 13, and then I'll realign this again to the left, the right. Okay, so as it's not giving me what I want. So let me enlarge this text. Increase the size. Alright, so this is not giving me what I want, so I'll just have to edit this and do them separately. So I'll cut this out and then copy it again and put my day. Alright, and then bring it here. Exactly, I think I've gotten what I want now. Yeah, I've got what I want. So I'll just place this here. And then send this also to this side. Alright, so this is fair enough. So I'll bring this to the front. So the next thing we are to do from this design, as we can see, let's change the color we used. So how was I able to achieve this color? I have the color code, but I think I'll just show us how I was able to select this color. So what you need to do is click on either the birth or the day and then go to color. Now we want to change the color, but then we are going to pick the color from the image itself. So go to your plus icon, go to your color picker. The color picker now is this first one. This one is to get your color code or to type your color code. This one is to pick a color from the elements of your designs. Alright, so I'm going to tap on this. So tap on this color picker. So here is my image. So I'm just going to select from Agele the color I need, or from a chain. I think I need a darker shade of this. Our forehead would be better to select the color. Yeah, I think our forehead will be better, so I'll just select this. So this would be fine, but then it's a bit too dark, so I'll just need to adjust it. Come over here, so just increase this, and let's see. All right, so here is what we have. Here's what we have. So it's still a bit too dark. I think I'll just have to adjust it more. Here. All right, so I'll just add stroke to it. So make my stroke width 5, and then make the color black. So the same thing I did here, you do also for your day. So you don't need to select the color again for your day. Since you selected it, it will be in your color palette. So just come and click it, and the color changes. So go to your stroke, also enable stroke, make it 5, and here we are. All right, so you can see the way I selected my color. All right, so I have the color code, but I just showed us how I was able to achieve this without color code. So you may not need to depend solely on color code. You can begin to generate your own color from your images, from your pictures, and from resources you use in your design. It could be from your PNG images, it could be from your background, or whatsoever. As far as going to blend with your picture, do make use of it. All right, so the next thing I'm going to do now is to type a name. Miss Destiny Osagie. Miss Destiny Osagie. All right, so this is also Montserrat, so I'm going to change the font to Montserrat medium, and then I'm going to reduce the size, so I'll just leave it at 18, and then bring this over here. So I believe by now you should understand why I'm putting them here. I'm trying to align all my elements to the right. All right, so it's alignment. I'm trying to align all my elements to the right. So I just bring this here. I make sure it doesn't go beyond the border. Move this upward a bit. So I'm good to go with that. So the next thing I do is to copy this and then edit this director of welfare. So I'm going to use the same color I used for the birthday, which is this. All right, so I'll just reduce the size, make it 10. All right, so you can see hierarchy also playing out here. All right, so I'll just make this a bit bold. Oh, so this is fine. All right, so we are almost done with this design. It's not going to take much of our time. So the next thing we need to do is to import another text, edit it, and write happy. And the font we used here was Katrine Free. I think I've fallen in love with that font. Katrine Free. Yes, here it is. Here she is. So let's bring this down. Okay, let me increase the size first of all. Alright, so bring this here. So we're going to reduce, I think it's too big. Let's reduce the size and leave it at, let me see. Okay, 110 would be fine. 110 would be fine. I love round figures. So let's leave it at 110. And then I did something here. I applied shadow to these texts. I applied shadow, so I'm going to enable the shadow, and then I'm going to reduce my blur radius totally. So I'm going to bring this, my offsets, I'm going to bring it down very well. Let me say 5, and then push out my offset X a bit. Alright, so just make it 2 and 10, and then reduce the opacity to around 65. Yeah, so that's fine. So I'm just going to position this properly. Alright, so here is what I've got. Position this a bit. Alright, so this is what I got. So the next thing we need to do is our date, 16th of April. So I just need to copy this Miss Destiny Osaje and then edit it and write 16th of April, and then bring it over here. I'm still going to use my grid icon to make sure it's aligned. Okay, let me leave it here. So the next thing I'm going to do now is that border around the dates. So go to shape and transform your square. Reduce the opacity totally. Make the stroke width 2. Make the color white, and then let's add radius to it. Let's leave the radius at 10. Leave the radius at 10, and let's position this properly. So this one now will have to touch the grid, but it won't go beyond the grid. Yeah, this is fair. So now my 16th April, I'm going to adjust this a bit. Try to position this at the center of this rectangle. Alright, so here's what we have. Here's what we've got. Alright, so we are making speedy progress. The next thing we need to do now is just okay, you can see over here a picture was blurred into the background. Alright, I duplicated picture. So I duplicated this picture of hers, I copied it, and then I reduced the size a bit. Alright, so I think this is fine. I sent this to the back. Okay, let me bring this forward. Alright, so what I just did here was just to reduce the opacity of the image. Let me leave it at 9. Alright, let me reduce the size of this a bit. Let me increase the size of this. Alright, so I think that's fine. So we are making progress. So as we can see here, yeah, so I think I'm cool with this now. So the next thing we need to do now is to basically write out these texts. We rejoice with you on this auspicious occasion of your birthday celebration. We appreciate your time and investment in Gela, wishing you more fruitful and fulfilled years. And then the organization's logo. So I think I have not imported that. Let me quickly do that to import the logo. Let me quickly import the logo. Alright, so here it is. Which should I use? I think I need this back. Let's make use of this. So I'm going to make use of this. Alright, so what I just need to do is to erase the color totally. And here is what we've got. So reduce the size. What I need to do is just reduce the size and place here. I'm going to place it beneath here. So let me make use of my grid tool. So it will be here, it will just be here. And then the next thing we need to do is basically to make to import our text. I might not be able to type this in full, so I'll just make use of one of our quotes we have here. One of the quotes we have here. Let me look for friendship quotes. Alright, let me look for the friendship quotes and make use of this basically. So let's change this. The fonts. Our normal font is Montserrat. So Montserrat medium. I'm going to make this black. The color, or let's make it the navy blue. And then reduce the size. Reduce the size of this. Reduce the size. And then we're going to align these to our right. Yes, we're going to align it to our right. And then place somewhere here. We place it somewhere here. So let's reduce this and see. So now I'm going to mix up my grid again to make sure it doesn't go beyond my expectation. Alright, so here it is, and here is what we have. So basically I'm just going to make this a bit bold. So this is fine. This is fine. So let me bring this down. Bring this down and reduce the size still. Reduce the size still. All right. So I'm comfortable with this now. So this is how I was able to achieve this flyer, this birthday flyer. All right. So basically, I think what is left for us now, as we can see, is the background we have in this white. The buildings we have in this white aspect, in this white background. So what we need to do is to unhide it. We have them here. So we unhide it, bring it to the front, and then let's position this properly. So let's erase the color first of all. Let's erase the color, the white color. Alright, so here's what we have. Let's do that 25. And then the next thing we need to do is to reduce the size basically. So just increase the size a bit and then position it relative position to the center. So here's what we have. So just position it, send it upward, and then okay. So what we need to do is basically bring all our details to the front. Bring the picture to the front. Bring our wish to the front. Bring it to the front. And then bring our logo also to the front. So after doing that, you can see that it's not properly contrasting. So you just have to blur or reduce the opacity of this. Alright, so let's leave it at 20. 20 is fair enough. Let's bring it downwards a bit. Position it downwards. And here is what we have. so we can see how the design was done. It's a simple design but yet profound. It's a simple but profound design. So I think I need to increase the opacity of this, my background here, to make it a bit visible. Okay, let me leave it at 50. Yeah, so I'm okay with this. So this was how I was able to achieve this. So go on, express your creativity, go on to add one or two, and let's see what we've got. So to meet again in our next design, stay jiggy.